They were my best friends growing up.
From Black Can.
I didn't want to leave the hotel. I was scared too.
Meanwhile, you bag, it smelled like straight horse booty, bro. That's crazy. That was...
Hello there.
Welcome to Tabletop Topics. I'm your host, Jeff.
And of course, Jeff. Guys, if you want to catch our episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And if you want to look at our delicious ugly mugs on Wednesdays and Fridays, we're on YouTube, One Word Tabletop Topics. We also have our Triple T's Clips channel and our TikTok channel. So if you click on the link, it'll take you directly to our page. And of course, you can navigate through it because we have timestamps. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And also leave us a comment if you want to talk about anything in particular. Jeff, let's jump right into it.
Yes, sir.
We finally got
the guy. He's here.
it. Took almost a decade, but we got
Nearly a decade. We've been trying to invite you since I was in my dad's nuts, bro.
Do you know how long a decade is? Because the math just doesn't add up. On that.
The math ain't mathing, bro.
Oh,
The
man.
math ain't mathing.
No, we should go back on that math.
Oh, no.
our brother from another mother. Would you like to introduce yourself?
All right. Well, my name is Skyler. I have been name dropped a couple of times from other guests
A
on
shit ton.
this podcast before.
You got to put the pressure.
It's true. It's true. It's apparently though just like we never actually could get this going. Whenever it would work for me, it would not
Yeah.
work for you. Whenever it would work for you, it would
Yeah.
not work for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sir.
no, for sure, man.
All right.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, like I've known you guys for what 8 years now.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
we're
It's
going
been
on
a
a
minute.
decade, man.
Actually, Easter is kind of like an important time for us.
Yeah,
because
that's the anniversary. Well,
that-
I
that
think
was-
that's like, I think you knew him before Easter.
we did know each other, but
Right.
like we met through work, and this motherfucker over here was wearing a Batman shirt.
Look, I didn't trust white people, so
making
He was
jokes.
really wary. Oh man, it was
Making
crazy.
jokes about how at night you couldn't see him unless he smiled, and I was like, okay, like he doesn't take himself too seriously,
His
but like
skin 30. Oh man.
I was like, hey, like we should probably hang out outside of work.
Uh-huh.
I think it'd be cool. Kept on saying no, and then eventually, I was having an Easter party at my house, and I was like, hey, come, invite your brother.
Said, "Fuck
And
I said, "Fuck it."
We'll do it live.
Let's go.
God
Uh-huh.
damn it.
And other than you making a complete jackass out of yourself, it was a pretty good time.
He was young and dumb.
That was crazy.
He
Like
was
I've said
young.
plenty of times.
I mean, the Creole came out,
Mhm.
like...
I've done things that,
Yup.
I will try to absolve
I mean,
myself.
it was alright. Like, it got,
You saved me from myself. Let's just say that.
your brother was about to
Yeah.
smack the ever crap
Oh
out
yeah,
of you.
Yeah.
but,
Jeff was about to box.
I mean, that was
my ass.
embarrassing, bro.
Yeah,
Jeff
no,
was
you're
about
just
to
like,
box
you did
me.
what? I just came here and this is what you're gonna do?
Bruh.
I did not
Like-
know that was the first time like you guys like legit.
Legit, yeah. That was
Okay.
literally the first time we legit,
Yeah, that was
legit.
wild. That was
Yeah.
wild.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm, mhm.
Okay, but yeah, man, Jeff was. It's the first time I seen Jeff like mad at me.
I was just like, oh, snurp,
That
okay.
shit was mad. Jeff brought out the Creole.
It was all about the white women.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
And that's dangerous, man. We black. You can't
Dangerous.
play with that stuff,
That's
man.
dangerous, bro.
Shit.
You gotta keep your hands out the cookie jar. I feel
Yep.
that. No, that's
But like I
dangerous.
said, what were you, like 23, 24?
Not even. He said 8 years ago, sir.
God damn. You're a child.
He said 8 years
Damn.
Yeah,
ago.
it was like 2015, 2016.
I was like
somewhere in there.
19, 18. I
Yeah,
think.
okay, yeah, he was a kid.
I was 19,
He was
18.
young and dumb.
Oh. You were that young? Probably shouldn't have been giving you alcohol.
Bruh.
Whoops. What's the statute of limitations on that?
I love it.
No, that shit was
I love
crazy.
it.
No, shit was crazy, man. But after that, like, man, it's just been
It was up here from there. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we went to Busch Gardens. We
this guy spammed Shikra.
I mean,
That was insane. That was the first time.
no, it wasn't Shikra.
No.
It was
Falcon's Fury.
Falcon's Fury was my jam. We did spam Falcon's Fury despite the fact that I hate heights.
He's like, I hate you, Jeff.
It was you and Sarah Beth because there was no line. We decided to go in like a circle on that thing like 10 times.
Fuck
And
yeah.
every single time I'm just like about to like break down and cry, but I was like, whatever, we'll do it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, no,
Ooh.
like, it's cool.
Ooh.
It's cool. Like,
But the
you
second
know,
time, because I didn't go with you guys the first time. I went
No,
the second
no.
time, and Falcon's Fury was.
It was us, Ben at the time, Sarah Beth. Did Jerry go? It was just us
No,
three.
it was the three of you guys. No, there was 5 of us. It was Ben, you two, Sarah Beth, and myself. Because we have a photo of the 3 of
Yes.
you crammed in the back of. I want to say it was Sarah Beth's car.
No way.
Yes.
There's a
the
photo
little
of
red
the
car.
three
That
of you.
tiny ass.
The little red Sonic, Chevy Sonic.
Oh my god.
Yo,
I gotta
amazing.
see that. If that still exists.
I have to find it somewhere. I
Yeah,
think it's on
if
one of my
that's
phones.
still. Oh, that would be amazing. It looked like 3 water balloons crammed
Oh,
in
it
a
was-
sardine can.
It was
bro.
great. It was great.
Crazy shit. That's some crazy
Yeah,
shit. I'd
shit.
love to see that.
Yep.
So, Skyler, would you like to tell us about yourself? What made you move down to Florida? Because I know you're not an original.
All right. So
Where
I
did it
was,
all
Well,
begin?
technically, he is now. Like
I was. I
he's
mean,
an
at this point,
honorary-
I've lived in
Yeah,
Florida
he's-
for like
he's a-
18 years.
Yeah, for sure.
honorary.
For sure.
No shit, it's been 20.
Then you're just
Yeah,
a Florida.
they're like-
at this.
20 of my 35, so
Flow
more
boy.
time in Florida than anywhere else. But
Yeah.
I was a military brat. Father is military, Navy. Moved around a bunch. I was born in California, then moved to Maryland. From Maryland, went down to Panama City Beach.
Damn.
Finished up high school there. Then from finishing up high school, I honestly had no clue where I wanted to go to school. Was thinking about actually going to New York Culinary Institute and go to
Yeah, because
become a
really,
chef.
Boy, be
when I moved in with him, that man cooked all the
Like,
time.
But I decided not to, and I went to UF.
Okay, that's what's up.
word.
So, lived there for quite some time. In college, I met someone who was from this area. And so,
Southwest.
Yeah,
Okay.
Fort Myers. Both sides of her family was born and raised here.
Oh, okay.
And
wow.
so we were in a relationship after I got out of school, and so she moved back home, and I followed her.
Okay.
That relationship did not pan out, thankfully, because I, have since been met a wonderful woman. We've been married now for 1 year and 4 months.
Amazing, Brittany.
Yep.
Good job.
To
I love you,
many
Brittany.
more.
Maybe one of the times you're join us on this podcast.
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Next
For
time
sure,
we'll
for
definitely
sure.
have her on.
Absolutely.
Yep. She's currently doing a gig right now. Else, she might have been able to come out.
Yeah, definitely we'll be able to talk to her about what she does and all that stuff like that. So
Yeah, for sure.
That'd
She
definitely be
is-
interesting.
Quite an amazing woman.
Yeah.
But that's what brought me down to Fort Myers. And then after that previous relationship ended, I was in the area and had a job. I was kind of established, and it was more difficult for me to relocate than just to continue.
Word. I feel
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
feel that.
And that was about the time also when this motherfucker over here, moved in with me.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
For 6 months.
Man, that
6
was
months or
great.
8.
It was almost like a year and some change.
It was almost a year.
It was a year and some change, bro.
Why did it feel like you guys were together for like the better part of a decade, man?
I mean, it wasn't that long.
I know, but that's what it felt
Before
like.
he left me for some hussy.
Yeah. Yeah. We ain't gonna talk about that dark chapter.
That
I mean, you guys liked her because she was making food, but other than that, then you
I
guys.
mean, I liked her because she made you happy, and it looked like she was treating you well.
Yeah.
That's your boy.
Yeah.
Like,
That's your
And
fucking
that's why he's my
boy.
brother from another
That's your
mother.
boy.
But then,
she didn't really talk or open up to me almost any of the times that we hung out that
Yeah.
much, but that's okay, because as I said, she seemed to be treating you well, and she was making you happy, and that's what I care about.
yeah,
Amen.
I appreciate that.
Amen.
Of course.
But
That
then-
boy real. That boy real.
But yeah, so
That's great.
yeah, no, he was there for like a year-ish, somewhere around there.
Dude, we had so
And-
much fun in that house.
Yeah.
So many
yeah.
amazing
I heard
stories.
every single.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
Are we talking about instant regrets here? Because
I mean,
absolutely.
the very first day when you moved in, I came back from work. I had a clear shower liner inside of the Jack and Jill bathroom that we shared,
I love this story.
and it was replaced like instantly. And I was just like, man, of all of the things that you wanted to try to replace in this house that we didn't have or that we needed,
By me.
Yep. The very first thing that was replaced was you put on an actual shower curtain and an actual liner.
Yes.
To be fair, the original liner was about 6 inches short because the previous homeowner, who was my roommate before moving out, told me the wrong dimensions of the shower when I went to
man.
purchase the first one. So it was a good 4-6 inches short, which really sucked because you could only have one side covered and there was always a little bit of a draft. But
And it was clear.
It was a clear liner. It wasn't an actual curtain.
Yeah. No.
So he replaced it. He got both a liner and a curtain. So the proper,
Yes.
Plastic, like, vinyl liner
Uh-huh.
and then actual, like, decal curtain
fuck
that you
yeah.
couldn't see through.
Yes.
I was like, man, really? That's the first thing you replaced? To his response was, well, what happens if, you come in on me beating it in the shower?
That is a very logical answer. Question.
And then I said,
Absolutely.
well, dude, just assert dominance. You stare and go harder.
Finish it. Finish it.
You just got to. To which, a laugh like that occurred for about a good 10 minutes.
Shit.
that's
No, that was amazing.
That's
That was
amazing.
amazing.
And he's just like, I'm going to love living here. It was the first time that Jeff actually lived away from home.
Yeah.
I feel
So,
that.
you
Nah,
know.
he grew after that. Like
Yeah.
the Jeff I knew before he left, and after he lived with
No,
you guys
he
and
had an
everything.
opportunity, and I just took it because
Yeah.
he called me. What was it, after Christmas? And he's like, "Are you serious about moving in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, if you'll have me." And he basically ran down through what was going to be the payments and all that stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then we went from there. But I was living with people, but the independence of it was. You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. I mean, even if we did bring girls to the house or anybody to the house, he had set rules. Outside stays clean. You can do whatever the fuck you want in your room, but
Yeah.
don't bring it out here.
Don't
Of
bring
course,
it
I
out
mean, we
here.
got to keep your living area
Yeah,
clean.
fact,
Especially
for sure.
since, my dog at the time, which, I mean, I absolutely loved that dog.
Amazing.
Great.
But,
Amazing.
Gedimus.
Gedimus.
Maximilian
Gedimus,
Alexander Prime,
man.
leader
Yeah.
of the Dogobots.
Amazing.
That giant black lab pit mix would eat anything he could get his mouth around.
Yes.
So,
And he ate my shirt and underwear. So,
you left things laying around. He thought it would be
yes,
food.
so that's why I freeball now.
5 years later, still
Yeah.
freeballing because he cannot
replace his
underwear.
Exactly. I didn't know if
he
Bruce
got
was,
that PTSD. He didn't know Bruce
Bruce was
was
gonna
going to
do the same thing, so I was like, nah.
chomping on his
But then if
trousers.
it doesn't have any seasoning on it, he's not gonna eat it. It's a gourmet chef type dog.
Yeah,
That was
no.
bored. I'm dead.
Jed was as adorable as he was stupid.
Oh, he was amazing.
How
like-
long did you have Jet?
I had Jet for 15 years.
Yeah.
15 years.
Now, I got him when he was around a year old from a shelter in Gainesville. I was actually his 5th owner. He had been returned to the animal shelter that many times. He had severe separation anxiety, and
He didn't want to do it again.
he was, as I said, he just was not the brightest dog in the shed.
I feel
So,
that.
all sorts of problems occurred throughout my owning him, but it was probably the single best thing I've done in my life.
I feel that.
He was with me through 15 years, so that's almost half my life.
That's your entire young adult life.
I
man.
got him right when I turned 18,
Right.
and I had him up until about 2 years ago.
Wow.
So Jeff, you were there, the day he passed.
Yeah.
Rest his
Yeah.
soul, bro.
Mhm.
That he was in the time that I got to know him. Man, that dog was
He's an
awesome.
amazing dog.
He's
Oh, yeah.
amazing
He
dog,
was
man.
he was a sweetheart. Dumb as bricks.
Yeah, like he was afraid to cross
Wires.
the wire chargers.
Yeah, if it was a wire, he wouldn't try to step on it or step over it because he was worried that it was attached to something that might fall on
That
him.
might fall. Oh man.
He couldn't back up. He just didn't know how to back up. He would just sit and kind of whimper until you moved stuff so that he would move.
He's like, I can't go backwards. I need you to move it so I can go forward.
Which was always really, really hilarious because
Oh,
we had a
man.
sectional couch and a coffee table. So if he got stuck in a section on the couch between the couch and the coffee table, you'd either have to go onto the couch or wait for someone to move so we could continue to go all the way around in the circle on the coffee table.
That's awesome.
Or he would just lay there and then
Yeah,
you could just
he would just,
rest your feet on him while you wait.
He would just be waiting, just all right. As soon as you move, I can move, but until then, I'm gonna sit here.
Yep,
He just stare at you.
that was it, man.
100%.
Help me do something.
So, but we had the dog, so the house had to stay clean. Plus, we had 3 guys in that house.
I feel that.
If we don't try to keep it clean, it looks like a serious,
It's got it.
serious bachelor
Serial
pad,
killer.
And
Serial
nah,
killer.
Hey, we did a pretty
not
good
about
job.
that job. Yeah, no, we did. We kept the house clean. We kept everything good. We constantly had company over, so that always was nice that we didn't have to spend hours upon hours of cleaning just to make the house presentable.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that was one of the spots
Yeah.
where everything every time a big event or gathering
And
happened.
it had a very, very kind of open floor plan, other than
Yeah.
that weird room right in the very from the front door immediately
Oh,
to the right.
It was like a weird
It was like a den,
yeah.
but like it was completely
that
sealed
is
off.
weird,
But like
yeah.
once you like had it, like it opened up to the living room, kitchen, and like little dining area.
Right.
Then it had the screened-in patio like right there off the living room. You know, plenty.
Is that
of
the one
space.
with the hot tub?
No, my current house has
Your
a hot
current crib has a hot tub.
Yeah.
tub. Yes.
You're,
Yes.
you're mixing them.
Well,
Yeah.
hey man.
Although the house that was in Lehigh is slightly larger than the house that I ended up purchasing in St. Carlos Park, but
But your current house feels bigger.
it's because it didn't have that one room right in the very beginning. All that space is just that one living room section essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
I
the layout
understand
is
that.
much better. Like
So
Minus the den.
but
minus
like
the den,
it was
gotcha.
only like 20 square foot difference between the two houses.
That's,
like
that's
it's
barely
the-
noticeable. Yeah.
But my privacy fence and screened-in patio area is larger than the one in Lehigh.
Yeah.
Word.
So.
Yeah, that's facts.
Mm-hmm.
That's facts. Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot of things happen at that crib.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of things happen at the crib. Oh, why don't you because we've told this story,
Mm-hmm.
but we need your
Oh, Jesus
perspective.
Christ.
Oh no.
Because we've had the first person,
Uh-huh.
we've had the third person.
Uh-huh.
We need the second person.
Okay, so a witness to what event are we talking about here? What was not actually the one involved? Oh man. Okay. So, all right. I figured that we were probably going to be retelling the story at one point on,
God
on
damn
this
it.
today. All right. So, speaking of things that we used to do at that house, we've always liked to try to do something other than just playing video games, watching TV, like
No
getting out
homosexual
there,
stuff.
and maybe a little homo. I do have that picture of you and Jerry cuddling while watching DC movies.
We fell asleep.
Bro, we're dropping bombs today. Man, secrets.
All right. So we decided that we wanted to go on a kayaking trip. So originally it was upwards of 10 people saying that they were going to go kayaking all on one day. But as we got closer and closer to the event,
Flaking.
a lot of people flaked out. There was an issue where
The eczema
someone
kicking.
saw that there was a gator sighted in the Estero River, which instantly made tons and tons of people say, "Oh, I don't want to go. There's gators." Like, it's Florida. If it's a body of water, chances are there's a gator.
Gator, bro. Even in your community lake, there's a gator,
Yeah.
bro.
So then the idea almost got shifted to a beach day, but not everybody wanted to go to the beach. Everyone still set on kayaking.
Not trying to get darker.
It's one of those things where it eventually just got split. And so some people decided to go to the beach, but we ended up still going kayaking. Now, the morning of, there were still supposed to be 5 of us going. Myself, Jeff, the owner of the house in Lehigh at the time,
Yep.
Gwen, and then we had our friend Remy and our other friend Brian, who has kind of since disappeared from the planet.
Yeah, where is
I
Brian?
have no clue, man. That guy disappeared. But we were all going to meet up at Estero Bay Outfitters and, just go kayaking for a couple hours. It was going to be great. Day starts off hilariously bad as is. Jeff shows up at the house, and we're all going to carpool, taking my car. So we get in the car. Jeff's getting in the back, and I almost run him over because I heard a thud and I thought that the door closed. But no, the door was still open and Jeff was only halfway in the car. He threw something in the back seat that made a thud noise. And so I'm rolling
My
back
body.
on this 25-degree incline driveway and practically run him over with him screaming in the back. This is before we even get there, and I'm just like, oh crap.
So the day already.
So the day already starts with me almost running this man over with a car.
Oh,
So we actually...
foreshadowing.
Yeah, pretty much. So after that, we get to Estero Outfitters. So there was the 3 of us, and then we met up with Brian. Remy, at this point, calls and says, "Oh, I overslept. I'll meet you at lunch." We're like, okay,
I
Remy.
ain't no way, bro.
Uh-huh.
He's like, I ain't getting into that
No
fucking
way.
So,
boat.
love Remy to death, but Remy is a large Vietnamese man. Sorry, Malaysian, not Vietnamese.
Malaysian.
He's a large Malaysian man. He is like a giant panda bear.
Yeah.
He ain't rowing no boat.
What about me? I'm probably bigger than him.
No, you're not. Remy's large. So, but we get there, the four of us, disembark from the cars, and we start walking over to where we're going to get the kayaks. Then the guy working there looks at all of us and is like, hey, all right, how you guys doing? Have any of you kayaked before? 2 of us raised their hand. The other 2 said, no, we haven't. Looks straight over to Jeff and asks, how's your balance? And can you swim?
Damn.
3 white guys and Jeff.
Bro, they pulled a Jaws. We're going to need a bigger boat.
100% they did. They said he was going to get the double wide.
And they gave it to me for real.
And they did. So we go in, we registered, say, hey, we're going to rent kayaks. So
Gave
we
us our
rent.
license just in case we died.
So one of us had to put our license down for the rental. So I put my license down. I said, okay, guys. Yeah, whatever. I'm like, so we're not driving off with their busted ass kayaks. They are well used. I will say that.
Yeah,
they
they
are
are.
ding to hell. So we all get in. We get our life vests on. We get our, paddles out. And then I tell everyone, hey, put all of your stuff in my car if you don't need it. Cell phones, keys, wallets, whatever we don't need, leave in the vehicle so that we don't possibly lose it. Yeah, that did not. So, we get going. And we're starting to go along, and I try to explain to Jeff, hey, you alternate sides. You stay centered on the boat so it doesn't rock, and that's how you get momentum. The more you cup into it and the more you rotate, then you're going to wave out a little bit more. So you just, need to stay straight and steady. So Jeff seemed to be looking like he was getting it, but he was not going anywhere in the water. For a little bit, we're like, okay. So, we kept on circling around trying to be like, all right.
It was my weight.
Here's how this is how you're supposed to do it. This is how it's supposed to go. And it just did not seem like he was getting it. So after a little bit, we're just like, okay, we'll let you figure it out. We're going to go on. We never let Jet get out of sight. So we're going down, and at one point I turn around and I see Jeff taking a selfie by the freaking reeds because he saw a bird there, and he's just like, "What's up? This is my first time kayaking, and I'm taking photos." I was like, "What did I just say? I just said, do not bring stuff that you're going to get lost."
You ever seen a black man kayak? I need proof.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, so we keep going, and I'm just like, you dumbass, you're going to lose that cell phone.
Yup.
I'm like, put that away. Don't do that. You're going to have it slip. Your hands are going to get wet, all that stuff, it's going to drop.
Yep.
He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, okay, I told you. I told you so.
I fucking told you. I'm telling you, I told you before I told you.
So, we keep going. After about 50, 55 minutes or so, Jeff actually seemed to kind of be getting a hold of everything. He wasn't going super fast. We thought it was because, he's
obese.
a little bit bigger, and he's also in that double wide, so it just became infinitely harder to paddle. So it was just all right. But we're like, hey, we're 55 minutes out. We have a 2-hour rental. We're going to start going back. So we start heading back. And, everything's, still going fine. But, Brian, Gwen and I at the time were just like, okay, cool. We're gonna, go a little bit faster. See, how fast we can get back.
Let's make his ass sweat.
So, at one point, there were multiple bends down this river, and I just had this sinking feeling as soon as we passed 2 or 3 bends, when I lost visual sight of Jeff, I was like, maybe we should kind of stop a little bit here, just so that he could catch up. I don't want to lose sight of anybody. Not 30 seconds later, I hear this.
That's how you really sounded, Jeff. He tried to make it sound all manly.
It was not all manly at all. It sounded like
There was a grunt in there.
squealing. And I was just like, oh shit. So,
There was a grunt in there.
Jeff was hitting them falsettos, bro.
oh man, he really was. And then you kind of hear a little break where you knew that water was getting into his mouth as he was trying to scream it. So I was like,
man.
and then right back to the screaming.
Oh, no.
So I turn this boat around as fast as I can and start barreling back down this bends. Brian followed me, and apparently Ben did not. Ben/Gwen just kept on going. So with that, I arrived first, a good bit before Brian did, and I see Jeff in the middle of the river, barely, not even touching the ground, just kind of dog treading, no glasses, mouth like inches above the water.
I'm short.
His kayak off to the side, overturned, paddle like starting to flow down the river. And I'm like, Jeff, go this way a foot. And he went a foot to the left, and he could stand up.
I was like, oh. I'm sitting there.
He was dog paddling for a good like minute or two when he could stand up.
I was trying to stay up.
Jeff, that's crazy.
When he could stand up a foot next to him.
He's like, Jeff, go that way. And I was like,
crazy.
oh. I literally stood up and I'm like, oh.
So
Crazy.
he's like, I lost my glasses and my cell phone.
Oh,
I'm like, what's going on? So I thought he just capsized. But he didn't just capsize. So I get him off to the side. Luckily, where he actually had all of this happen was right at a dock entry point into the Estero.
Yeah.
So we literally just like, all right, I'm going to climb up on that dock. I got his boat back over to him. I got his paddle. I'm like, okay, well, we can't do anything about your cell phone and glasses now. Like, they're gone.
You're
Yeah.
fucked. Sorry,
Like,
bud.
You know, like, I had my cell phone to keep time, and I had my keys. But other than that, like, everything else was, like, in vehicles. So I was just like, man, like, I can try calling your cell phone, but we're not going to be, you know,
Yeah.
searching the bottom of this for your cell phone. Like,
Meanwhile, 30 miles away, I'm on Snap Maps, and Jeff's
Yeah.
phone is in the middle of the fucking river, and
Yeah.
hasn't moved for the past 30 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck?
He's
yeah.
dead.
Yeah, no, he's thinking that I chopped his brother up and left him in the So, I after collecting all of the things, I noticed that the kayak was still sitting a little bit low on the water, and as soon as Jeff tried to get back into it, like, it instantly started to just sink to the bottom. I'm like,
Damn.
okay,
That's crazy.
this isn't working. All right, so I get out of my kayak again, and I'm like, all right, Jeff, you use mine. I'm going to try to use yours. There's a little bit of a weight difference. Maybe I won't sink. Nope.
Fucking sick.
Like, nope. I went sunk right to the bottom just like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, cool. That's awesome.
Damn.
I'm like, this kayak is dead.
Damn.
So it wasn't me.
They set you up.
It was
bro.
not Jeff.
was not.
But all of a sudden, now that Jeff's in my kayak,
Oh, I'm moving.
he is moving.
I am
Like,
moving.
All of it.
He's just like, was this easy the entire time? I'm like, yeah.
Fuck yeah!
He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, my kayak fucking sucked. I'm like,
Bro was handling.
Bro,
he had a
you know how hard I was
handicap,
pedaling?
Bro. That's crazy.
Bruh.
That's
so
crazy.
they gave him a dud that had cracked drainage holes that was actually leaking water into the body cavity of the kayak.
Yep, and that's why it sank.
The body cavity being hollow is what allows the kayak to float.
Wow.
So
It started
it
filling
got
up with water.
water into the cavity and it no longer was floating. Now, as far as like the speed and the buoyancy, that's probably just because of how wide it was versus a narrower kayak. So we had this kayak that belonged to Estero Outfitters that was sunk a mile plus away from Estero Outfitters. Wow. We didn't have any way of fastening it or binding it to the kayaks other than the hand poles at the front and the back of a kayak used to pull them into the water, pull them out of the water. So we just knotted those hand poles together, which made the kayak go back to back because they're in the back side of the kayak, not the front side of the kayak. So we had our buddy Brian dragging a kayak backwards from his one kayak in an attempt to get this kayak returned so where they're not charging us however many hundreds of dollars they would
For
destroying
leaving
the
it.
kayak.
Wait.
While he was swimming.
We haven't gotten to that part.
They could still charge you?
Probably gonna try.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Like, we didn't return a piece of equipment. I didn't want to worry about it. I was like,
You set me up to die.
That's
an equal
the sole
exchange.
black person in the group.
Yep.
By the way,
You know what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to get themselves famous on the news. Oh yeah, a famous black guy dies. This is where his body was.
That's crazy. You're trying to make a.
so we start doing that, and originally
Amazing.
I was just swimming, holding on to the kayak to make sure that it wasn't getting disconnected. So I was holding on to the back of Brian's kayak, holding on to the other kayak while swimming through the water.
You swam the whole way back, bro?
I swam about a good 2/3 of it.
Yeah.
in the crocodile infested or alligator infested water.
He's like, I'll wrestle that alligator.
Wow. They probably ignored you because they saw 2 stones dragging in the mud. I
mean, like, we didn't see one all day, but that doesn't mean that they weren't there.
That's fucking nuts.
So,
that's crazy.
We're going through all of this. Like, I'm swimming through the water. Jeff is like, all of a sudden, like, oh man, this is the best thing ever.
And Skyler's like, shut the fuck up.
I was like, you want to get in here and start swimming? We only have 2 kayaks.
Fuck you, you
That's
fat
in
bitch.
Wonderland. It's fucking.
I'm like, we only have 2 kayaks now, and there's 3 of us. And where the hell has Ben?
That man in his head's like, fuck you, fat bitch.
Oh,
Why don't you
man,
get out
bad
of here?
shit, goddamn.
Why don't you come and swim, you overweight hippo?
I was just thinking of how could this day get any worse at this
That's
point.
wild.
I was
That's
like,
crazy.
oh man. That was the only thing going through my
He
head.
ignored
It's
the
like-
omens. That's
I was
what
like,
happened.
ugh.
He ignored the
So-
omens.
About 3/4 of the way there almost, all of a sudden we see Ben coming back and said, oh hey guys, we have 3,218 strokes before you get to the edge. I'm like,
Oh, he's pissed.
are you fucking serious right now? You went all the way back to the outfitters and then came back? You just didn't think that, hey, one of us was screaming for fucking help, that
That's
maybe
crazy.
you could have came and helped us. He's like, oh, I knew you got it. I was just like, no, not at all. Like, come on, man. Why didn't you come and check in on us right when we weren't all of a sudden there? Like, this has been almost an hour.
Yeah, this is the person you don't trust when you need
That's
it.
serial
When you
killer
need them to
shit.
say,
What
yep.
the
Oh, you
I
got
mean,
it.
they're on the spectrum. I understand that. And they have certain things. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I knew you were going to handle it. Okay, that's really cool. I could have probably used some help.
Yeah.
Especially since, hey, guess what? They had a belt, which allowed us to actually use that to
To
bind,
tow it, right.
not only to tow it, but to tow it the right direction so we weren't towing it backwards so the aerodynamics worked properly.
Yeah. They're dragging against, yeah.
So instead of dragging against the momentum way where it's supposed to cut through the water, yeah. So they took over dragging the boat,
Wow.
still put me not in a kayak.
Oh, man.
Then, a little bit
Oh,
later, I was like, you
man.
know what, screw this, I'm tired of swimming. So we get the 4th oar, and I jump on top of Brian's kayak, because Brian was the skinniest of all of them with
Yep.
me.
Yep.
And we were doubling in a single kayak.
Yep.
So I was straddling this kayak, paddling like this, and we had to like get synchronized, because if we didn't, we would start tipping over a
Tipping
little
over,
bit too
yep.
much.
Oh, man. That's
So,
crazy.
and that was like just for like the very tail end of the journey, because it was like it couldn't have been more than 5 minutes of us doing that before we start pulling around the bend to see the Estero outfitters.
Yeah.
And the look on this guy's face when he sees 2 skinny ass white dudes, he's thinking like, what in the frat boy gay ass hell is going on here?
Did I interrupt something?
To which I say, hey, you gave us a fucking busted boat.
Oh, nah, damn.
Oh, no refund.
What was
no
his
nothing.
response?
Oh, the only thing that they did for us was they didn't charge us for the late fee because we were an hour and a half late.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, I would have been pissed.
remember
too.
when I said 50 minutes and we started to turn back? Hour and a half late. So, this happened maybe at about the hour 20 mark. It took us 2 hours from that point to get back.
Yeah, because we're about, what, 2 miles out?
Yeah, it was pretty close to 2 miles.
Yeah.
Like, we got a long distance.
Yeah.
So, we're getting out of the kayaks and everything like that. I start checking my pants, and I realize that my keys wound up in the river when I dived in to help Jeff.
Yep. So it was my fault.
Yeah, so,
Oh, wait, there's more.
no
Oh
car
my
keys.
God.
No car keys.
Almost got ran over. No car
And
keys.
I drove, and I told everyone to put their stuff in my vehicle.
So guess what's stuck in the vehicle?
Everyone, wait. So in a sense, you both were right.
What do you mean?
He said, "Put your shit in the car."
I mean, I told him to put his
Yeah.
shit in my car.
Put your shit in the car. But you said, "No, I'm taking my shit."
And he still lost his shit.
And he still lost his shit. But in the end, no one got their shit.
No, to be fair, all the shit was safe. It was
Right.
just saved in a locked
In
vehicle.
the locked vehicle.
Right.
I feel that. I feel
So, thankfully, the only fortuitous thing that happened out of all of this was my license was the one that went down for the actual rental.
that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have my wallet, but I had my license. And I had my license and my cell phone, which through that could get me the proof of ownership and all of that through registrations and such that needed for me to get a key printed. So the four of us packed into his 2-door Honda Civic Coupe.
Oh, there was no space. That was the fat one, so I had to sit in the front. So all the skinny people were in the back.
So, and then we drove a good 4 miles up 41 to the Hyundai dealership to try to get the key for my vehicle. That took another almost hour and a half, 2 hours.
Wow.
We went to the, first we went to the service department. Service department gave us this code for, inserting into the key making machine, saying, okay, this is the code that you need for your key. Cool. They said, you have to go over to parts. Went over to parts. Well, parts said, the key making machine isn't here. It's across the parking lot in that part of the complex. You need to go over there to get the key made. Cool. We go over to there. There's no one behind the counter and someone in front, waiting for us. Turns out that the guy who was talking to the guy who I was talking to in the parts department was actually the one working the key thing. Didn't say anything to us.
Wait.
Walks in and then talks to the people in front of us. They get resolved and then doesn't say anything. I walk up to the counter and start staring at this guy for a good 5 minutes.
Wow.
Before I then start actually talking to him.
Wow.
Because he still did not say a word.
So he knew you were there.
Oh, 100%.
Right,
There were
'cause
four of us.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't just one person. We all were just
Yeah.
they weren't hanging out in the car. They
Yep.
were behind me, actively talking, getting louder and louder and louder. To the point where I was like, excuse me, look, we've been sitting here. You have not even acknowledged us. You haven't said hello, anything. I need a key printed.
Word.
Are you going to help us? Or do I need to get someone to help us?
That's crazy.
And then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just, doing this. I'm like, how can you not see four of us sitting in front of you within 5 feet of you just staring at you? Come on, man. If you had said, hey, I need to do something, give me 1 moment, that would have been fine. We'd have been like, okay, cool. If you took it too long, and then we'll say something.
Word.
But didn't even acknowledge
You
us.
didn't even acknowledge.
So, with everything else that had gone on that day, I just tore into the dude.
Oh,
Being
no, I feel- no.
I was just like, look,
Every
dude,
right.
all you could have said was, hey, I'll be right with you. That's all it takes. A simple, little
Facts.
thing. We need this key. I've had a very bad day. Please, get this key. Here's the code. Here's my, proof of insurance. Here's my driver's license. So, he's like, okay. Looks at it. We don't have any of those blanks over here. They're across the street in the parking lot over there.
Jesus Christ. Yes, that day was very annoying.
So then he left for a good 15 minutes to go across the street, only to come back saying, oh, hey, we're actually all out of those blanks.
No way.
But we have this blank that is similar that could probably work. I was like, try it.
Yeah. What other options do I have?
I don't have any options
Yeah,
here.
what the fuck?
Try it. So I was like, okay. So then he starts to try to turn on the key machine, puts in the code that we were given, and looks at me and is just like, where'd you get this code? I'm like, the service department? He's like, oh, well, do you drive an Oldsmobile?
Jeez.
I'm like, no, I have a fucking Hyundai Elantra.
Oh, I'm fighting everyone. What the fuck?
I have a Hyundai Elantra. He's like, oh, okay, so this is the wrong code. Well, then find the right code. Here is the information for my vehicle. Here is the VIN number. Here is my license plate.
Why am I
Here
doing
is
this?
everything that you need to know to make a key for my car.
Give me a uniform. You mother bitch.
So,
Don't
he
touch
finally starts making it, and then I hear a, uh-oh.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. How are you still calm?
Oh, at this point, I think I just accepted the fact that it was so ridiculous that it couldn't get any worse.
Like,
so I was
this
just
is fake.
I'm
Like,
like,
this
okay,
isn't-
just add it on. What this time? What
Like,
else
this
is
is
going
real
on?
life. This isn't real life.
This was acceptance here. This is way
Fuck
past all those.
I submit.
All of the stages of grief, we went through denial, this isn't happening. We went through anger, we went through bargaining,
Please make the key. Oh, man.
we were just at acceptance,
Fucking A,
hey,
man.
it is what it is.
Oh man.
So he said, well, there's good news and bad news. I'm like, don't tell me that.
Don't tell-
He's
yeah.
like, good news is I'm not going to charge you for the key. I'm like, okay, and what's the bad news? Bad news is it might not work. I'm like, it isn't even my key. Come on now. No. What's going on? He's like, well, the blank that we used was a little bit harder than this machine's used to, so it kind of kicked around a little bit when it was making. I'm like, well, why didn't you hold it tighter? Like, come on, that sounds like operator error there.
And that was the last key too.
And it was like, it was also the last one of that, so he couldn't even do another one.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. As Jeff said. So I was like, well, what's my options if this doesn't work? He's like, well, we have a mobile locksmith that you can call, but it'd be like $200. I'm like, why would I have to pay $200 for your fuck up? Like,
Sensational.
like 100%. Like, that's not my problem. That's on them. He's like, well, hopefully it'll work. I'm like, what the?
That's crazy.
And at this point, it's
That's
like
crazy.
it's like almost like 2:30, and we started this venture at like 7.
And we've been trying to get to Ginza's.
How are we not on a yacht now? I'd have been suing the fuck out of everybody. What the hell?
So
Morgan & Morgan's 30 minutes up the road. Get
we were
the
just
fuck
like,
out, what the fuck?
screw it. We have the lunch, like, planned to go. We're meeting somebody else. So we all just get into the car. We go out to our favorite place to eat, Ginza, all you can eat.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We actually just hit that place today. It was
We
fire.
did.
It was
Yeah.
fire. That
So
was awesome.
then we are telling the fifth person who were supposed to have gone on this trip with us about all of the amazing things that had transpired over the course of the day. And
The day of bonding and anger management.
and he did not believe it at the time.
Damn.
No one believed it.
No?
But
They thought that was the craziest story
It
ever.
happened.
Amazing.
So after Ginza, we would go back to my car, and the key actually worked, thankfully.
Oh,
Like,
man, that's a
so-
coin toss, bro. That's crazy.
Yup.
That's crazy.
So it worked. It was like a little jammed in the ignition at first. Like, didn't turn nicely, but it did turn. And I was like,
Yeah, boy, I know you.
But-
bro was like,
yeah. So, but it's fine. I still actually have that key currently today. Like,
oh, that's like a token right there. Now I feel
No,
that.
I still use it actually. It's still the key. Yeah,
Oh, word.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay, I thought you like fucking engraved it.
No, I don't
Probably
have it like.
should.
I
Bro,
don't-
that's a
I don't. I mean,
Like-
it is a memento, but it's
Bro.
on my. It's in my pocket on my keychain.
like 30 years down the road. This is the key. This is
We
the-
actually do have a backup key to it now. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
a backup
Fire.
before because
Okay.
when I bought it from Hertz, they only had one key for it. They didn't have a second key for I don't know whatever reason. But you buy those used cars and like you get them as is.
Wait, Hertz sells cars off the lot too?
So any of their like prior fleet cars,
Okay.
after they're done, like after they hit like 40 grand, like 40,000 miles or something
Okay.
like that, they retire them,
Ah,
and so they sell them.
Okay, like I figured they kind of like, cause I saw YouTube on that, but I never really.
Now I don't know like their prices these days after
Word.
like they lost like
Oh, so
Inflation.
10,000 cars in that fire during
Oh
COVID
yeah,
and all that other stuff.
that was crazy. Well, aren't they? Didn't they? Don't they have a contract with Tesla or some shit like that? Or is that?
I have no clue. I
They're
don't
doing
pay
something
attention
like
to
that.
Hertz's business
But-
packages. I just know that I never rent a car through Hertz. Their customer service is terrible.
It's absolute shit. Absolutely.
Like 100%. After
Absolutely.
the hurricane, I had to go through that experience, and they did not they didn't follow their own disaster policy, and so like they tried to charge me $800 that I should not have been charged.
Oh, was your car like?
So I had to rent a car. We actually flew into Tampa because we couldn't get a flight in.
Right.
here.
You were out of town.
Because of the hurricane.
Right.
Because of the
Why you-
hurricane, like it hit the day we were flying back from Germany.
Wow.
So when I tried to come back that Friday, we had to fly back into Tampa because we couldn't get a flight to Miami. We couldn't get a flight anywhere else because at that point, actually, it was in North Carolina. The hurricane was hitting North Carolina,
North Carolina.
as I was leaving.
Right. Damn.
So barely missed it, having to get stuck in North Carolina.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
man.
crazy.
But flew down into Tampa, and we needed a rental car. And when I was doing it online, I was like, okay, return to Fort Myers. And everything popped up great. It said the nearest place I could return it. It was Punta Gorda. I was like, okay, I mean, it's not Hertz, whatever, like corporate, but hey, Punta Gorda is not that far away.
Word.
Sure, cool. So Saturday morning, I tried to return the car to Punta Gorda. Punta Gorda Airport is completely locked down and is being used as a disaster. No, it's using as a disaster staging relief.
Oh, okay.
They had about 5,000 freaking linemen's trucks and all this other stuff,
Wow.
just like all like lined up there in like single file, like about ready to like get their plans and how they needed to distribute and like return power. But there was no power to the structure. The business was closed. I took a photograph of everything. Tried calling their customer service at the time. I talked to a man. I got his name. I got his employee number. And I was like, okay. And he told me that due to Hertz's disaster relief policy, I can take it for no additional days and then return it to another location closer when it opens back up. I said, okay, thank you. 100%. Everything was stated right there. So this was Saturday. Tuesday, I saw that Hertz Corporate's rental office was open. So I drove the car and was like, hey, here's my paperwork. I was told that on Saturday, you guys have this policy that states, like, hey, I could return it to another one and I wouldn't be charged for the extra days. They still tried to charge me for the days.
Wow.
Like, no, fuck you.
They charged me for the days. They charged me for the different location of returning. They charged me for everything.
During this hurricane.
Or did you actually pay? Like,
oh, wait, it got taken off my credit card.
Oh.
And then I contacted them, and they put a claim in through, and there's, we'll have to, research these charges. So initially, they just pulled off the late charge, saying, oh, well, you kept the car for the additional days. I was like, the place I was supposed to return it to was closed. Still was closed when I turned the car in. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Dropped it off on the lot and Uber home.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, do you just want me to leave the keys in the car just in the middle of,
yeah.
a
Go for
deserted
it.
parking lot? Like, I could do that.
Fuck it.
It's actually in your lot. I took a picture.
They then said that, it has to go into, an investigation before I could get that money returned. And that it would take 5 to 7 business days.
It's okay, I'll do it.
So I was like,
Oh
my goodness. So after 5 to 7 business days, they then said that they were not going to refund me for the days because I still had the car for those days. To which I then called my credit card company and said, okay, they're playing this game.
Reverse the
Reverse the entire transaction.
Yes, sir. You got it right. You got it.
I
love it.
And then I sent it.
Reverse that shit.
And then I said,
Fantastic.
okay. I sent an email to Hertz Corporate with the exact information that, transpired through all of the phone calls, because every single time I called them, I got the person's name, their employee number, and what they were saying. And I said, this. And I went in multiple times to try to get this resolved, and it didn't happen. And I wanted to be charged the $180 that I was quoted.
Mm-hmm.
I have now disputed this with my credit card company, and because of all of the information that I have from your own website's policy and for everything that I've been told by your employees, I will win this.
Absolutely.
Loopholes.
Like,
Absolutely.
I don't want to not have to pay for the car. I rented the car, but I wanted to pay the $180 that I was originally quoted, not the $892 that you charged me.
Oh, it's gonna be $180,000 for emotional damage.
And within a day, I got an email from Hertz with a refund.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Because them credit card companies, they're like, hey.
Yeah. Because you can say suspicious, block
we want
this
our money
transaction.
back.
Well,
Yeah.
it's more or less like, hey, if they want to keep well with a credit card company, they got to make sure that the credit card company doesn't have to refute charges with them all the time.
That's facts.
But, yeah, no.
See, what I was kind of worried about is, because, I've heard this, this has made news stories and stuff, where Hertz will actually, put out...
report cars stolen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that got them in big trouble.
Whoa.
Wow.
Cars were being returned and then reported stolen.
Reported stolen.
By
and people-
Hertz?
Yeah.
Because they were being returned late or in other locations.
Mhm.
So then people that would rent a car would be getting pulled over for driving a stolen vehicle.
Oh, wow.
And
Even
get
though they
arrested,
had the
processed,
proper paperwork saying that they rented that vehicle.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And they would still get arrested and processed and all that.
Even though they had the proper
And they would
paperwork.
have,
Mhm.
now they have records.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have records for some bullshit, and-
I mean, the act of being arrested doesn't actually,
Well,
stay on your file.
well, if you're...
If you're innocent,
Yeah,
especially.
that's true. 'cause
You have to be convicted in order for it to
Convicted,
go on
that's
your
right.
file. But still, they would be arrested and detained more than likely
Mm-hmm.
because, Grand Theft Auto is not a little...
Slap on the wrist.
That's a big one.
Spend
so
a little 48 hours. Spend the weekend.
if it happened on a Friday, yeah, you ain't getting out till Monday.
Damn.
Oh, no, sir.
And that is all sorts of messed up and
Yeah.
causes all sorts
It's
of
sorts of
problems.
problems. It's a cascading effect. You know what I'm saying?
Jeff could not make it in prison over the weekend.
Oh, fuck no.
Sorry. It would be jail because prison is where you have to spend terms for more than 1 year.
Ah, okay.
Jail is, just like,
It's a little timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little timeout.
Jail is a country club.
Yeah.
Ram Ranch.
Ram Ranch.
Ram Ranch.
Oh shit. So how was your trip to Germany?
Yeah, man.
It was amazing.
How many days?
16.
16?
Amazing.
Yeah,
You
like,
really
yeah.
took all that. Like you really.
I would have
had
done it
to-
too.
Yeah, no, yeah, so the way that it worked out was that we had the 2 days off, the Thursday, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Then I used 5 full vacation days, so that was another 7 for 9, and then another 5 full vacation days for 16. And then, like, 1 or 2 days on the back end as well. It got slightly extended due to the hurricane because I was supposed to return
Right.
that Tuesday, but didn't return until that Friday. But we flew into Munich. We met up with one of my buddies that lives over there, and we saw the city, saw the surrounding areas.
Nice.
We went
Was
to-
he? Did he like serve as your guide?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
No, we spent a lot of time with him and his girlfriend. I met them because he comes to Cape Coral every year for Christmas
Word.
with
Okay.
his family,
Mhm.
and we both played Infinity. And
Oh,
so
cool
it's
beans.
a tabletop game. When he came out, he was like, reached out through the internet, being like, "Hey, I play this game. Does anyone play this game in the area?"
Nice.
And me and my buddy were like, "Yeah, we play." So he came out and played with us, and he was really cool. So like every year he came back, we played more, like hung out more, we got beers, and in 2021 he came out and his girlfriend got COVID the
Oh, no.
day before they were supposed to fly back, and so she was gonna get stuck in the U.S.
Right.
And he was just like, "Hey, I feel really bad asking this, but can we have a place to stay while she gets better so that we can get a negative test?" I was just like, "Of course." Like, I'm not gonna say, "Oh no, you can't, stay in my guest bedroom."
I don't know you.
So they stayed for a good 5-6 days.
Okay.
And
That's
then they,
fine. Okay.
both were able to, get a new flight, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, you said you wanted to go to Germany for your honeymoon. Like, when you guys do, come out and visit us. Our entire family will put you up." And Brittany and I were like, a little suspicious about it, but like, okay, like,
Trying to kidnap
Hostel.
Americans. Yes.
yeah, not like that.
We saw
But,
Hostel
like,
1 and 2.
It was just more or less just like, okay, like staying with someone's family is like super weird.
Right. That's a
But-
big graduation.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like when we went, it wasn't at all. Like their family was amazing people, and like they all like were told like, hey, what we did for Yannick and his girlfriend, Kati, and like they actually at one point were just like, you don't need to stay at a hotel at all, just stay with us the entire time. And we're like, no, we're still gonna get the hotel,
Yeah,
like
okay.
we just want to see like what it's like inside the city. We don't know when we're gonna be coming or going.
Yeah, that's true.
And like if we want to come back at 1 a.m, I don't want to like disrupt you guys'
Disrupt
lives.
what's going on now. That's
Especially
facts.
because during some of those parts of the trip, Yannick and Kazi weren't with us, so it would just be us, and at that point it was Kati's parents.
Mhm.
Where
So it'd
like
still be
like,
awkward.
yeah, I mean, they were the sweetest people ever.
Yeah.
So like it wouldn't have been awkward like being there with them.
Oh,
But
okay,
it's more or less
okay.
just like I didn't want to disrupt their lives and have them
Right.
like, rearrange that much
Right.
for
Just
us
for
to
you.
play
Just to
towards.
accommodate, right?
Yeah.
I feel
Gotcha.
that, Right.
Yeah. Plus, like we would still have to get on the train, like in like they're like monorail type dealies, like trams back to get to their house at the end of the night, where the hotel was more centrally located in the middle of the city. So, but we went to Munich. It literally we got there like 2 days before Oktoberfest started.
Oh, cool
So we
beans.
were there for like the cracking of the keg and everything like that.
How was that? Did it taste different from American German beer?
So that was a nightmare. Because get this. So that was actually the day that we were getting out of the hotel, and we were going to spend one night at Yannick and Kati's apartment before we left Munich.
Yeah.
So it was like, we didn't know that there was the parade that was locking down the entirety of the central city of Munich.
Oh shit.
So all these roads were closed off, blocked off. Like he was gonna pick us up from the hotel, but he's like, I can't get out of my apartment because his apartment, you could literally from like the side of it see the pavilion for Oktoberfest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like he was like right there.
Oh wow.
So I was like, all right, well we'll walk towards you. But the same reason, like he couldn't drive, we couldn't walk. So it was 40 degrees outside and drizzling rain.
Ooh.
Where Brittany and I had our suitcases and backpacks on, like, trying to get through tons and tons of people who were clamoring around trying to watch this parade.
Wow.
So, I mean, to be honest, it was just a giant carnival.
With a shit ton of beer.
Yeah, so the actual like layout and everything like that, just think of like any like state fair.
Word.
It was just
okay.
slightly larger.
Mhm.
There were like, all sorts of
Foods.
food booths.
Mhm.
There was like,
Rides.
those really, really rickety roller coasters that they set up.
Wooden.
Like,
wooden.
100%. Really, really big. All that was there. Then the only real difference was, of course, is that, everyone was dressing up in like the lederhosen and the drindles. Drinking in public there is allowed. So,
Oh, wow,
like,
okay.
yeah, unlike U.S., like, you can drink at 16 there in the
Fuck
street,
yeah.
not a problem.
That's facts.
So,
That's facts.
also, food is so much cheaper over there than here. A
Really?
restaurant...
So your money went a long way out there.
Oh, especially because at the time, like, the dollar and the euro were equal. Like, 100% 1-to-1. Yeah, no, it was really, really good. 1.5 liters of beer. So, let's see here. This right here is a liter. So 1.5 of this.
And half of that.
How much do you think it would be U.S. dollars at a restaurant?
Beer? I would say maybe 15, 20 bucks.
$4.50.
Unlimited.
Drunk for free.
Unlimited.
What the
So,
fuck?
yeah,
I
like-
could live my dreams of being
100%.
homeless. What?
Also, it's not like it's like Michelob or Miller. or
Right.
Bud,
It's like
Piss
it's
beer.
It's like the good German
The
ale.
good German ale.
okay.
So like
With flavor.
So you don't need a whole lot of it. Definitely fills you up. The only difference, as I said, that makes Oktoberfest more special than any of the other carnivals
Yeah.
are the pavilion tents. Now every single brewery has their own pavilion tent, and if you don't sign up for a table way ahead of time or start standing in line like 3 a.m. the morning of opening, you ain't getting into one until much, much later on.
Oh wow.
But inside these giant tents, think of like a circus tent almost, just like in size and scope. They have all sorts of like murals. They have entertainment. One of them had freaking people singing ABBA, all like decked out in lederhosen and like just dancing on tables. Like,
That's fire.
That's what's up.
That's
like,
awesome.
So it's just generally like everyone has a good time. Part of the charge to get in one of those tents includes 2 beers and a chicken. The
Oh,
rotisserie
wow.
chicken, it's well known. My buddy kept on talking about how, rotisserie chicken. They put sugar on it, like it's kind of like a brush on glaze.
Oh, wow.
That's what makes it taste so good.
Was it like a culture shock for you guys?
I mean, they're a little bit more like, unimpeded and like they had more like less inhibitions just in general in Europe. I mean, that's the European way versus
Yeah.
the American way. Like,
Yeah.
we're so like bottled up and cloistered
my
and like
safe space.
Yeah.
so it's not even like safe space. It's just like we're just a repressed culture. We have that,
You think so?
Judeo-Christian values
I
are
got you.
embedded in.
I got you.
Whereas
It's
in Europe,
They're free thinkers.
while we were by the river, we were literally watching people strip down completely nude and go swimming.
I mean, okay.
And nobody looked again, but you do that here.
Nobody's like, oh my
everyone
god.
would just be like clutching their pearls. and be like,
911. Nudity.
So
He eye touched me.
so like completely different, views on that type of deal.
I feel that.
A lot of people spoke English, and if you didn't
Wow.
have people that spoke English, there was generally someone nearby
Nearby
that
who
could
could
translate.
translate.
Like my German is all right. I could order something off of a menu or anything like that, but I couldn't necessarily ask for directions in German.
Okay.
Google.
Did Google help out a little bit?
Didn't necessarily really need it.
Oh, word. I
You know,
feel
like,
that.
We, between the time that we spent with our friends and, everything else, there was enough in English, or my German was good enough to get us through. Like, we never really felt like we were lost or,
Need direction.
needed a translation and was not able to, get it.
Okay. That's fine.
They have a whole slew of options over in Europe that we don't have for, like, non-dairy. Brittany having issues now with whey
Damn.
protein, like,
Jeff. That's your city.
bakeries, just like, food in general. Like, they had entire sections of menus about just any restaurant you went into. Like, it's just a huge deal over there
really,
to
like,
include.
inclusive.
And,
Right.
you know, so, like, that was cool. Like, you know, Brittany's like, oh, I could have this ice cream. Like, you know, there's not very many non-dairy ice cream options here.
Yeah,
and
sure.
they were actually good. And they weren't, like, you know, just, like, an
Bullshit,
afterthought.
right.
Like, you know. So that was nice. You know, we saw the Disney castle. We got some great photos. Right as the storm was kind of rolling in over the mountains.
Wait, there's a German Disney?
I didn't know that.
The Disney castle. It's Neuschwanstein. It's actually the castle that the Disney World castle was modeled after.
Holy shit. That's amazing.
See,
Yeah.
wow.
The OG, look at that.
That's
Learn something new.
amazing.
So,
okay.
despite my fear of heights, we climbed up to the top of the mountain, and there is this rickety little bridge. I mean, it's rickety. It's made of metal, but like as windy as it was, it did not feel like it was stationary at all. To walk out to get this photo, like an aerial shot of the castle.
That's amazing.
And we got some really good photos. The entire thing. You guys have seen them. Like we made it. Brittany likes to make those little memory scrapbook
Yeah.
things. She got a better one than I did because she walked a little bit further out on the bridge. But I was noping out at that point. Like, my height.
Well, she's like acrobat. She does acrobat.
Heights, doesn't really bother her.
Right.
She even said that the bridge was kind of a little on the windy side, so like she wasn't exactly like the most comfortable up there because
The only time this man say fuck heights is if he has to save somebody.
I mean, I'll do what I got to do,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I'm not about that
He
height.
hates.
I'll
every
yell at
second
you
of it.
after I save you.
Yeah, I'm hating every second of it.
100%. Like it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I like being on the ground. I'm
Yeah.
100% okay with that.
Oh shit.
Oh man, so with that's not your first time out the country though, right?
So it's first time across the ocean. When
Okay.
I was younger, we went to Mexico a couple times.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you guys planning on doing for your next anniversary?
So we're not really like just doing it for anniversaries.
Right, it
like,
doesn't have
that
to
was
be.
that
Oh,
was
like-
that trip
okay.
specifically was just our honeymoon.
Oh,
and then
okay,
we delayed
okay.
it until a
Right.
good time in the year for both of us. We are planning like every other year or so doing
Okay.
an international trip.
That's fine.
We were debating if we wanted to go to Norway or Japan next. I think we're gonna go to Japan next.
Sir, I'm gonna make a list.
I mean Norway. We both want to go see the Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
I'm gonna need pictures.
And you
she
know what
wants to see it
sucks,
out of
too?
an ice igloo.
This.
Like the clear ice igloo.
Oh, yeah,
things that
the
the lights
Oh
is.
yeah.
Like she wants to go over
Like
one of
those ice hotels, kind of, sorta.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
They have ones that are just like they're circular dome rooms that you
Uh-huh.
sit in and you watch the
Yeah.
the lights.
It's crazy.
It sounds
it's crazy.
It sounds freezing. And,
Got plenty
Oh,
of body
man.
fat if you want some, sir.
I know this year's a really good year because the sun's going through like a really intense flare cycle. So the auroras are intense this year. So.
yeah, I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
We did actually go see one of the things that we actually did see was there was a solarium in Stuttgart.
Word.
And it was really cool. So like we went and we saw that, and it was on the Aurora Borealis. So that was pretty awesome.
That's nice.
But no, we went to a bunch of different cities. We saw plenty of castles. Now we preferred the ones that were actual like fortification used castles, like actually used castles, versus the remodeled pretty little palaces that were like summer homes to princes and stuff like that.
okay.
Okay. So like it was the castle and then like a duke or like a
So no, depending upon when the castle was built. If it was built towards like the late 1700s,
Right.
it wasn't really being used as much as castles
That's castles.
as it was if it was built during like the 12, 13, 1400s.
I gotcha.
Like
I gotcha.
those were more like palaces, because by the mid to late 1800s, there wasn't any use for a castle.
Right.
They'd already at that point started developing actual real siege weapons.
Yeah.
So your castle ain't gonna do anything to
No.
to that. In the early 1900s, bombs.
Bombs, facts.
You know,
Rockets,
No,
bombs.
that's
Yep.
facts.
I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't have planes to drop them, but there was
They
plenty of
fleet,
ways
trebuchet, God dang
to,
it.
or there was plenty of ways to have a mortar going and blowing up some walls.
Oh, man.
And a lot of these castles, their construction, I mean, you can tell how old the buildings are, even with some renovations and all that. So no, they couldn't withstand that type of beating. So they weren't tactical or strategic in any way. It was just a big, opulent show of wealth and status. Now it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I preferred seeing the ones that were like, okay, cool. This would have been holding the border between two provinces, and people would have been dying on this type of stuff.
Okay, so you were like you were really kind of diving into the historical.
That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah, I said, when we went to see the Neuschwanstein castles, there's 2 of them there. It's a little castle city, and there's also a museum of the Bavarian princes.
Oh wow.
So Germany has in it they have little subsections, provinces almost. You have Bavaria, which that's in the southern areas where everything that people think is quintessential German. Most of that is Bavarian.
So it's originated.
It's originated in the south because Bavaria used to be, before Germany was united, its own nation, its own province.
Okay.
So you got different sections, and each section has their own history and things like that. But most Americans, what they think of as German is definitely Bavarian. Where you have Berlin on the other side of the country that has completely different things, and you're not seeing people wearing lederhosen and stuff like that. That's where the wall was, and stuff, But so seeing the history was definitely cool. We did see a bunch of museums. We took guided
That's
tours
amazing.
and stuff.
That's amazing.
We tried to walk through and see as many stuff through all the cities that we went. We saw the largest or the tallest cathedral in the world.
Damn.
They love their churches there, and they were some very, very intricate buildings. Then my biggest thing also was food.
Oh, I bet. I freaking bet. Dude.
So not only you learn about the culture, but you want to taste their food too.
100%.
That's amazing. So it's if you guys
doner kebab. We need that in the U.S.
Okay, I was just about to ask you.
It's actually right. Turkish, not German, but Turkey's right there,
right next door,
and it's a gyro that uses beef and a heavily seasoned sauce, and you just roll.
Is it
that
a
up.
red sauce or
It's kind of like a ziti sauce, but they but they add different seasoning to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a yogurt-based sauce it's heavily seasoned.
Is that where stroganoff originates from?
I have no clue where stroganoff originates from.
Yeah.
But my guess is it's probably something Slavic. Just based on the name. Either that or, more eastern towards Russia.
Okay.
So basically every trip that you guys take every other year, it's not just for the sceneries and stuff like that. You're learning about the culture and history.
You got
Sure,
to.
I mean, you got to.
when
you go to a
Why
place,
go to
I don't want to be I'm just gonna be me in another place.
Right, no. That's
because typically when
live
people...
like people live in that
right.
area for a little bit,
Yeah.
see hey, cool, this is awesome.
Culture yourself.
And
But that's what's amazing, because usually when people say Japan, they're like Tokyo, but then there's shit outside
they're
of it.
going for the aesthetic. They're
Yeah,
not
exactly.
really going for...
I mean, I would love to go see through the Japanese countryside all of their,
That'd be amazing.
Shinto temples and, the castles. I'm sorry, how does wood and bamboo stand up for 600 years?
That's facts.
Yeah, that's true.
facts.
And
they
they're
have
strong,
rice
too.
paper, bamboo, and wooden buildings that have been around since, the
amazing.
1400s.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Go see all of that. Yes, go see, Tokyo. I mean, everybody who likes
Kyoto,
anime wants to
right,
go.
yeah.
But it's
go
also
see
amazing
Tokyo.
to explore the history behind it,
Right.
too.
Sure, I mean, if you don't like history of your own, nation, you're probably not going to, want to learn history about anybody else's, but that's
Yeah.
just,
It's all gonna be-
the individual.
yeah.
But, seeing, where it all came from, where it is, that's all a part of just experiencing a new people, a new place.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't really have a set itinerary. The only thing that we knew we wanted to do was to go see the, Neuschwanstein castles.
Okay.
But, we, went, and every single day we planned out what we were going to do for the next day. When we were seeing one of the castles in Stuttgart, we actually stumbled upon a pumpkin festival.
Oh, wow.
And there was 80 different types of edible pumpkin there. We had this deep fried pumpkin fries. Dude, it was phenomenal. There were so many different pumpkins. Now, it's a lot of what we would call
Bro, them
classify as
Starbucks
just,
girls would love that shit. Go to Germany, damn it.
Also, like, it's not the same pumpkin spice over there as it is here. But, no, there were tons and tons of different pumpkins. They had, like, deep-fried pumpkin fries, which were amazing. Like, they were just, like, thin wedge slices of, like, this one edible pumpkin that you could eat rind and all. They dropped it in the fryer, threw a little bit of seasoning on top of it, and boom.
Damn.
But they had, like, sculptures made out of different colors of pumpkins, like, there. It was also, like, on the grounds of this castle where there was this little fairy book village that had the classic German, like, Grimm fairy tale.
The real Grimm, yeah. Wow, okay.
Not the, whitewashed American versions of them.
Yeah, so they can cater to kids, yeah.
So, like, people died and did horrible things to one another and all sorts of stuff, but, it was just a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Man.
It was
That's
cold,
awesome.
but it was fun.
Bro, I can't wait to go traveling.
Let's do it.
Azores first.
Yeah.
Azores. That's where we're trying to go.
Where are you?
That's amazing.
Azores? The Azores is off the coast of
It's like
Portugal.
12. It's like 12 beautiful islands.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the Atlantic. Has the most stable weather ever. Am I saying that right?
Weather ever? Yes.
That sounds terrible.
Yes.
Fuck English. But and pretty much like it's on a volcano, like a dormant volcano.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like 800 years in the future, but I you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's a dormant volcano.
It's a dormant volcano.
Very rarely do dormant volcanoes become undormant.
Unless you drop dynamite in there.
Yeah, man, it's just like this lush,
This ain't a movie.
lush green paradise of just springs. They have the world forest where they have plants from all different parts of the world because each island has a different climate that you can grow certain plants and stuff and trees. And I just kind of want to see it. There's actually like a little towns that exist there that have been there even. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so pretty much like the Azores is just a little chain of islands, volcanic islands, that just have different climates and different cultures because each town or each civilization on those islands developed completely different. It's like where did
the Galapagos for people?
Galapagos for people. Yes.
All right, that sounds cool.
Yeah, they got a.
And it's really nice.
And you use a plane.
A little
San
biplane.
Jorge.
Yeah, San Jorge.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, dude. It's amazing, but that's pretty much one of the goals. But hey, man,
Cool.
gotta make shit happen.
You got to. And you also got to live a little. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, you can't just freaking, like, kill yourself with work all the time.
Nah.
Yeah.
You don't work to die.
I made that promise when I got, promoted to assistant manager position way back when, that I wouldn't let my job completely just dominate my life. That I would, lose sleep if I had to, do things that, whatever I needed to do in order to still enjoy the time that I have.
How do you find that balance?
It's hard. Sometimes not easily. Sometimes it was, as I said, losing sleep just to, go and do something that I enjoy doing just so that, I'm not waking up just to go to work, just to come home, eat, shower, sleep, and go back to work. Like, that can just drive you to an early grave. And even if you're doing that and you're not like, you're only young once. The older you get, the more you go like, oh man.
And the less you can do.
How did I spend my life? What was I doing? Because, when I'm 65 years old, I don't want to retire and then just, croak the next day.
Yeah. That's facts.
That's one of those, like, you gotta make your life a life worth living. Because there's a difference between living and just surviving. And just waking up, going to work, just so you pay your bills and stuff like that. That's survival. That's not living.
That's not living. It's not living. That's why I be trying to tell motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you gotta understand what you want out of your life and where you want to be and what you want to know and what you want to see by the time you reach a certain age. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that committing yourself to just work. You know what I'm saying? Work allows you to find your purpose, but work isn't your purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the end goal at the end of the day.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. That's fine.
And I was gonna ask him for his final thoughts too, but I
Oh,
feel
yeah,
like
go
that.
ahead.
I feel like that's what it was.
No, that was. I couldn't say it. Yeah.
I mean,
couldn't
unless
say
you
it
do have
perfect.
final
Yeah.
thoughts.
Do you have any piece of advice for our listeners out there?
I mean,
something.
biggest thing about advice is that you're not gonna remember the items that you buy. You're not gonna remember the toy that you played with or like the movie that you watched. You're gonna remember what you did with the people you did it with.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That kayaking story was a prime example.
Yes, sir.
I can't count how many times it's been brought up, how many times we've retold it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the people that we did the thing with that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Amen
what
to
made
that.
it, and that's what made it so memorable.
Amen to that.
So
yes, sir.
it's life's about the people.
It's about the people.
You got to take care of each other.
Sensation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Amen to that, brother.
Amen to that.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my man Skyler,
It's about
Love you,
that
bros.
time.
it's about that time.
Oh hell yeah, we're gonna go see
We're gonna see John Wick next
John
week.
Wick,
Mr. Quick.
Mr. Quick,
Mr.
the
Quick
final.
4.
Is it the final?
it is the
the
final.
final chapter in the title?
I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it is. But if
okay.
not,
Stop it.
Fast and Furious.
I'm only buying.
Ooh, that'll be scary.
listen, this is not about family, all right? This is John Wick.
We're on the threshold. Technically, actually.
Okay, Dom.
Fantastic.
Oh man, it's always a good time with Skyler.
Yep, for
man.
sure, bro.
Always a
Always,
good
brother.
Sure,
time.
definitely gonna have
Always.
you back on.
For sure. We
All right.
appreciate you coming by, man.
Yeah.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
definitely.
You know, looking forward to see what happens in the future.
And
Sit out.
I did talk about trying to throw a Christmas party here
Okay.
for the first
Yeah,
time.
once-
I just wanted to get the floors done
yeah,
first.
once everything was like
Yeah.
good to go.
So I'll
Absolutely.
definitely invite everybody, including
We can finally coronate the home?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
With
Okay.
like
I might get a Christmas tree this
right.
year.
Oh man, that's a step up.
Yeah,
I didn't buy a Christmas tree until I was dating Brittany.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I, said
our-
might.
when we were living together, our house definitely did not have a Christmas tree.
Hell no. It had nothing.
They just wake up.
It had nothing.
at Christmas
We literally
tree.
just got up, went to go
Yeah.
see our parents,
Yeah.
ate our food, and then came
They
back.
came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
What'd
That's
you get?
That's the guy's life.
Oh yeah.
What'd you get?
Yeah.
All right.
Resemble.
I'm dead. I'm
Yep,
dead.
yep.
I feel that. All right, Jeff.
All right,
Take
guys.
us home.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us at the tabletop. If you want to catch our episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And if you want to look at our ugly mugs on Wednesdays and Friday, we are on YouTube. One word, Tabletop Topics. We also have our Triple T's Clips channel and our TikTok channel. So if you click on the link, it'll take you directly to our full episodes. And of course, we have timestamps so you can navigate. Stop. I'm trying to do the outro. So we can navigate through the the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And of course, guys, thank you for joining us at the tabletop. You have a good night, evening, weekend, and or day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank-
Sensational.